Okay, let's unpack this. There's a new documentary, The Age of Disclosure, and it is really shaking things up in the UAP community.
It absolutely is. It's on Amazon Prime. And what it does is it takes these theories that have been on the fringe for so long and, well, it injects them with some very high-level testimony.
Decades-old testimony. So for our deep dive today, we're going to focus purely on the claims being made in this film.
Exactly. And it's important for you to know we're not looking at new photos or, pieces of metal. The entire case is built on the accounts of former intelligence, military, and scientific personnel.
People with serious credentials.
Very serious. And they're talking about alleged historical encounters, deep political suppression, and some really startling physical effects reported by military staff.
And the claims are just audacious. I mean, we're talking about an alleged landing in New Mexico in 1964.
With a non-human entity stepping out.
Right. And maybe the most shocking part of it all, the claim that the files on this were so secret that a former U.S. president was denied full access.
Which really frames the whole conversation. The power of this documentary rests entirely on the authority of its witnesses. These aren't random people. They've held high-level security clearances.
They've worked inside the Pentagon, top scientific institutions.
Right. So the critical question for you as you listen is how do we weigh these claims when they're only supported by these personal but very credible accounts? That's the lens we have to use here.
Okay, so let's start with the big one, the historical anchor of the whole documentary, the alleged 1964 Holloman Air Force Base landing. What does the film actually claim happened?
So the central allegation is that 3 unidentified craft were involved in an incident at Holloman Air Force Base. This was over the summer of 1964 in New Mexico.
And this isn't some blurry photo claim. The testimony is very specific.
Extremely specific. And the source is significant. It's coming from an astrophysicist named Eric Davis.
Right, and for anyone who doesn't know that name, Davis was a scientific advisor for ATIP,
The Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program.
the government's own UAP study group. So his name carries a lot of weight.
It does. And Davis alleges that military and CIA personnel were there on the ground, and they witnessed 3 spacecraft approach.
Okay, but this is where the story goes from a sighting to something else entirely.
This is where it moves into astonishing territory.
Yeah.
He claims one of the craft landed directly on the tarmac,
And then
and then a non-human entity stepped out.
a face-to-face meeting on a U.S. military base in 1964.
That's the claim. If any part of that is true, it just reframes everything we think we know about this topic.
Yeah.
It means this has been actively suppressed for 60 years.
It immediately makes you ask, who could possibly have the power to keep something like that under wraps for so long?
And that question leads us right to the next major claim in the film, the one about secrecy, the George H.W. Bush connection.
Tell us what Eric Davis said about his talks with the former president.
So Davis claims that in 2003, he had a private conversation with former President Bush. This is, decades after Bush left the White House.
And in that conversation, Bush told him about the Holloman landing.
He confirmed he knew about the 1964 encounter. Yes.
Now that timing is just fascinating, because Bush wasn't just a president. He was a former director of the CIA, a decorated Navy pilot.
You'd assume he would have seen everything. Someone with that background? You'd think he'd have unrestricted access to the nation's deepest secrets.
Especially anything related to air defense or intelligence, you would think.
You would. But that's the key here. The insight is what Bush allegedly told Davis about his own access to the information.
Which was what?
Davis claims that while Bush was briefed on the incident years after his presidency, he was specifically denied deeper access to the files, the Holloman files.
Hold on. A former president of the United States who ran the CIA was told, sorry, you can't see this file.
That's the testimony.
What possible justification could there be for that? For blocking a former commander-in-chief?
According to Davis, Bush was told, point blank, that he did not have the need to know.
He didn't have the need to know.
Think about that. The implication is that the control of this information is so deep, so compartmentalized, that it operates beyond the reach of even the highest elected office.
It's like institutional concrete. It suggests the power structure here isn't political, it's infrastructural.
Exactly, which is what the documentary calls the legacy program.
Right. It asserts this is a formal mechanism for secrecy, a highly classified U.S. government initiative.
Allegedly active for decades, and its whole job is to recover, study, and then conceal UAP debris and, well, anything related to it.
And what's really critical is the structure of this program. It's not just a simple military op, is it?
Oh, not at all. The interviewees claim it's run by this complex web. You have elements of the CIA, the Air Force, the Department of Energy.
The Department of Energy is interesting. That points to nuclear materials.
It does. And crucially, it also involves private defense contractors.
Ah, and that's how you create true secrecy.
That mix is designed for deep compartmentalization. As soon as you push this stuff into the private sector, it's outside of direct government oversight. The transparency rules are just completely different.
So if a sitting president comes along and asks what they found in 1964 or 1988, they just hit a brick wall.
Because the files are technically held by a private company. Or they're in a compartment that a politician simply doesn't have access to. That's the alleged system.
And to back this up, the film brings in Hal Puthoff.
Yes, the physicist. Puthoff is a longtime figure in this world, did foundational work at the Stanford Research Institute. He's been inside government-adjacent research for a very long time.
And what's his specific claim about what this legacy program has recovered?
He goes further than just debris. He asserts the program has recovered several different types of extraterrestrial beings over the years.
Beings, plural.
Beings, plural. His quote in the film is very emphatic. He says, "Whoever it is, they are here. And they've been operating here for a long time."
So he's not speculating.
Not at all. And the film also broadens the scope. It brings up a supposed 1988 crash in Russia, linking the alleged retrieval of alien remains there to this same ongoing recovery effort.
It's a picture of massive global institutional control. But then the film takes a really significant turn. It gets very sobering.
It does.
It shifts from these historical retrieval claims to the human cost, the physical harm caused by actually encountering these things.
And this is where it connects the big, abstract institutional machinery to individual human trauma. And the testimony comes from Dr. Gary Nolan.
A professor and immunologist at Stanford. I mean, this is not someone you typically associate with fringe claims.
Not in the slightest.
Yeah.
He's highly respected.
Right.
And he recounts examining U.S. military personnel who were exposed to UAPs.
What kind of injuries did he see? What are we talking about here?
Dr. Nolan uses the word horrific. He describes severe burns, but also deep neurological damage.
Neurological damage.
Yes, and he's very specific. He talks about finding internal scarring inside the brain tissue of these patients.
My goodness. And how did these patients get to him?
This is the part that ties it all back together. He says they were brought to him by CIA representatives and an unnamed aerospace contractor.
So the same people allegedly running the secret program are also managing the medical fallout?
It suggests they know this is happening. It suggests the exposure isn't just, psychological stress. It's some kind of energy or radiation that leaves measurable physical damage.
And Nolan's testimony is backed up.
It is. It's reinforced by the personal account of Mike Flaherty, a retired Navy and Air Force intelligence officer. He also claims he experienced biological effects after getting too close to a craft.
The consistency between the high-level medical science and the personal military accounts, it's clearly designed to make the case that this is a tangible, physical threat.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the present day. If any of this is true, the cover-up, the physical harm, then this stops being history and becomes an immediate national security issue.
And that's where the lawmakers come into the film.
Exactly. You have senior U.S. senators warning that this level of secrecy is a risk in itself, regardless of what the UAPs actually are.
They quote Senator Marco Rubio, and he says the assumption that presidents are fully briefed on this is just naive.
Which perfectly echoes the claim about George H.W. Bush. It's the same idea. The information is controlled institutionally, not politically.
The politicians are locked out.
And what's so important about including the lawmakers is how they ground this whole thing. They bring it back to terrestrial threats. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, for example.
Right. She makes the point that these unidentified objects could just as easily be from China or Russia.
And if a rival nation has technology that our military pilots are encountering and can't explain, then concealing that is a massive immediate threat to national security.
So it forces you to consider this dual threat. Is the government hiding evidence of non-human life? Or is it hiding the fact that we are dangerously behind a rival nation in technology?
Either way, the secrecy is what makes it dangerous.
Which brings us to the director's goal, Dan Farah. He seems to position this documentary as more than just an expose. It's a catalyst.
He's very clear about his mission.
What does he hope the film will achieve?
Farah says he hopes the film sets the table for a president to step to the microphone and more comfortably tell all of humanity that we are not alone
He wants to force official confirmation.
through the sheer volume and credibility of the testimony he's put together.
It's a huge objective, built on everything we've just discussed. I mean, a 1964 alleged alien landing, a decades-long secret program operating above the president, and documented horrific physical injuries to military personnel.
And while none of it is verified with official documents, the consistency and the seniority of the people talking Davis, Puthoff, Dr. Nolan, it has definitely shifted the public debate.
From just skepticism to a very focused inquiry into secrecy?
For sure. And as we move forward, the political risks are clear. The documentary is mixing these claims of an extraterrestrial presence with these very real warnings about China or Russia.
So it raises a final, pretty provocative question for you, the listener, to think about.
If we accept the testimony, if we accept that something unknown is in our airspace and causing harm, which threat is made more dangerous by the secrecy? Is it the possibility of non-human entities operating here? Or is it the possibility that our own government is hiding the fact that a terrestrial rival has technology that we can't compete with?
The identity of the object changes how we should respond.
But the secrecy is the obstacle, no matter what. Something for you to chew on.